One day you'll wake up and all of this will seem like a dream. Bitwise are expecting a gamma squeeze when the options debut. We are going to unpack what that means, how the options work. Bitcoin is loving it. It's back over $64,000. Those waiting for lower prices to get in, they are quickly losing their chance. Bitcoin is set to rip 10x. There is 100x potential now with the options. Bitcoin is the scarcest financial asset on the face of the planet. This is going to drive Bitcoin to insane new heights. We did have China. They just unleashed the biggest bullish catalyst. The Fed, they've cut rates. We are about to enter Q4, which is historically bullish, and we have the election coming up. Welcome to G'day Bitcoin. Smash the subscribe button because you will get the news with the fast facts. If you've gone hard this cycle, stacking sats, smash the like button. Those with 1 Bitcoin, you're the new financial elite. Those with 0.5 Bitcoin are royalty. And those with just 0.1 Bitcoin, you are now living legends. Diving straight into what the options are. Investment manager eyes extraordinary upside from the Bitcoin options debut. They could potentially spark an explosively recursive price upside for Bitcoin. We're going to unpack how they work, what they mean. Investment managers expect the US debut of the options on the spot Bitcoin ETFs to accelerate institutional adoption and potentially unlock extraordinary upside for spot Bitcoin holders. On September 20, the US SEC greenlighted Nasdaq's electronic security exchange to list options on BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust. It marks the first time the regulator approved options tied to a spot Bitcoin ETF for US trade. Now, listing the spot Bitcoin options on regulated US exchanges, the Options Clearing Corporation safeguards traders against counterparty risk, the OCC. For the first time, Bitcoin will have a regulated market where the OCC protects clearing members from counterparty risk. This is Jeff Park. This means Bitcoin's synthetic notional exposure can grow exponentially without the default risks that have kept investors at bay. So, what are the options? They're contracts granting the right to buy or sell, call or put, in trader parlance, an underlying asset at a certain price. In the US, if one party fails to uphold the agreement, the OCC intervenes and they settle the trade, making it fair, a nice playing field. So the spot Bitcoin options unlock an array of capital-efficient portfolio strategies for investors and could potentially catalyze explosively recursive price upside for supply-constrained spot Bitcoin, Park said. Meanwhile, the introduction of institutional hedging and markets through option devices fundamentally dampens volatility for the underlying asset and aggregate over time. The volatility has been a feature, not a bug. But that's according to Tom Dunleavy, a managing partner at MV Global. So to commence trading the NASDAQ, they still need to sign off from 2 other oversight bodies, the Commodity Futures Trading Committee, which is CFTC, and the Options Clearing Corporation, OCC. Analysts expect those approvals imminently, followed by a proliferation of similar products on the exchange. I'm assuming others will be approved in short order. That's according to Eric Balachanis, an ETF analyst at Bloomberg Intelligence. Before we dive too deep into what they are, how they work, we've got a video by BlackRock. We'll bring it straight up and hit play. Good morning, everyone.
How hard is the sell when you think about the retail investor base that can get into this? If you're trying to tell them it's digital gold, yet the volatility is still so high, and many people don't understand exactly what it is at the end of the day. Is it something that will eventually be used as more payment methods moving forward across different parts of the world? Is it something that you hold and never sell, right? How do you then make that case to a generation of people who have not gotten into this asset?
Sure. Well, when you think about Bitcoin, we think of it primarily as an emerging global monetary alternative, right? It is a scarce, global, decentralized, non-sovereign asset. And it is an asset which has no country-specific risk, has no traditional counterparty risk. So these are interesting properties when you think of it from an investment perspective, particularly in a world where there's growing concerns over money printing, currency debasement risks, political, fiscal, sustainability challenges in the U.S. or elsewhere. And so that resonates, frankly, with a lot of investors. It goes back to what we talked about earlier with the risk-on piece. It confuses investors when people talk about it as risk-on, because based on the properties that I just described, you would think of it as risk off. And that's where I think
it has a marketing problem.
So you could say that. And so, the reality is there's probably 2 or 3 things a year that happen typically that actually impact the fundamental value of Bitcoin. This year, I would argue there's been 4. But that makes it hard to write daily stories, right? And so you see this instinct to kind of point to whatever's happening in equities or unemployment or jobs numbers or manufacturing, which really has no connection to Bitcoin.
Straight from the horse's mouth, hey, let's get out of this full screen and dive into what the options mean, how we get a 10x, and do we get a 10x, do we get a 100x, is that going to happen this cycle or next? But the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF options, they do set the stage for the GameStop-like gamma squeeze rally. This is Bitwise predicts. So the options are tied to BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF. IBIT could set the stage for a GME, a GameStop-like gamma squeeze, led upside volatility in Bitcoin. We're getting conflicting messages, more volatility, less volatility, maybe less volatility to the downside, more to the upside. Pretty interesting. The crypto community, however, seems split on how it affects the Bitcoin market. Volatility per Bitwise asset management gamma squeeze, a rapid price rally catalyzed by options market dynamics could become a feature of the Bitcoin market following the debut of the IBIT options, a gamma squeeze. So options are derivatives that allow the buyer to buy the right to buy or sell the underlying asset at a predetermined price on or before a specific date. A call option gives the right to buy. So a call is the right to buy and represents a bullish bet on the market, while a put option represents a bearish bet. So puts are to sell, calls are to buy. Option gamma is a metric that gauges how an option's delta or the sensitivity of an option's price to movements. This is great. Options movements and the underlying asset changes for every $1 move in the underlying asset price. If somebody knows a really good ad blocker, can you let us know in the live chat? Greatly appreciated. So when investors buy a lot of call options anticipating a price rally, the market makers, and this is where it gets really interesting, who mandate to maintain a net market neutral exposure and on the other side of the trade, holding large amounts of short call positions, often called short gamma exposure. As such, they purchase underlying asset as the market rallies because they are obligated to deliver the asset to the call option buyer. Hedging activity puts upward pressure on the spot price, causing a sharp rally like the one in shares of the American video game retailer GameStop 2021. That thing just ripped. Bitcoin options have negative Varna. So as spot goes up, so does volatility, meaning delta increases even faster when dealers, who are the market makers, who are short gamma hedge this gamma squeeze. Bitcoin's case becomes explosively recursive. More upside leads to even more upside as dealers are forced to keep buying at high prices. A negative Varna gamma squeeze acts like a refueling rocket, Park said on X. So with Bitcoin options investors, they can now make duration-based portfolio allocation bets, especially, for long-term horizons. There's a good chance that owning long-dated OTM calls at premium spend will give investors more bang for their buck than a fully collateralized position. This is according to Park here. Other side of the story, over the long run, increased institutional participation via the ETF and ETF options is likely to dampen volatility. Bitcoin realized a historic volatility. It has been trending lower since the Chicago Mercantile Exchange listed the Bitcoin futures back in December 2017. Institutional flows via IBIT options could temper Bitcoin's upside implied or expected volatility. This is according to Magadini. So sophisticated investors, and this is who it's for, use the covered call strategy to generate additional income on top of their ETF holdings as observed in the gold market. The strategy involves selling a high strike ETF call option, pocketing the premium option price while holding a long position in the ETF. The short leg puts downward pressure on the implied volatility. Last two things. So as institutional ownership grows, their behavior has a greater impact. This means that ultimately institutional adoption leads to lower volatility in Bitcoin. This is merely a continuation of the clear structure decline in Bitcoin's volatility. Happy to take volatility reduction to the downside, but not to the upside. And we are sitting at 64,320. We'll dive into it soon. Changing gears a little bit, BlackRock has put a hell of a lot of pressure onto Coinbase. Bitcoin Twitter went absolutely wild. Is Coinbase rehypothecating Bitcoin? Are they doing an FTX? And we've got a story in regards to FTX. Caroline Ellison has been placed in jail. We'll dive into that shortly. But if you can do us a favor, smash the like button, share the video, and hit subscribe if you haven't already. You will get the Bitcoin signal. But BlackRock, their Bitcoin ETF, it demands 12-hour Bitcoin withdrawals from Coinbase. This is all because a whole bunch of people, Bitcoin Twitter, meme the hell, or just put pressure on Coinbase, and BlackRock's paying attention. The world's largest asset manager has filed for an amendment for its Bitcoin ETF following widespread investor concerns over Coinbase on-chain settlement practices. BlackRock, they've filed an amendment to require Bitcoin withdrawals within just 12 hours from the ETF custodian, Coinbase, according to a September 16 filing with the US SEC. Subject to confirmation of the foregoing required minimum balance, Coinbase custody shall process withdrawal of digital assets from the custodial account to a public blockchain address within 12 hours of obtaining an instruction from client or client authorized representatives. BlackRock is putting their foot down. They are running their own node as well, verifying that Bitcoin is there, that it has arrived. BlackRock's new amendment follows widespread industry concerns about Coinbase ETF custodial practices. Increasingly, investors have been asking Coinbase to provide on-chain proof of the Bitcoin bought on behalf of the spot ETF. Coinbase, they are the custodian of 10 out of 11 of the spot Bitcoin ETFs and out of the 9 recently approved ETFs in the US. They are a bit of a honeypot. Despite the newfound institutional inflows for the Bitcoin ETF, the Bitcoin price has been stagnating for the past 3 months. This is why all this pressure got put onto Coinbase. This is partly what promoted widespread investor concerns that Coinbase was buying paper Bitcoin or Bitcoin IOUs on behalf of the Bitcoin ETF issuers, hence suppressing Bitcoin price. However, that wasn't going on. All the ETH transactions are ultimately settled on-chain, despite not publicly sharing all ETF addresses, according to Brian Armstrong, co-founder and CEO of Coinbase. They do talk about it. Deloitte, they have paid many millions of dollars in fines for audits that have gone wrong. But if you want audits, Deloitte audits them annually. Take that as you will. It's nice when you can meme things into existence. So in regards to BlackRock running their own node and a little bit more context around it, getting tagged in this is Eric Balahanis. So here's some more details. BlackRock, they run their own Bitcoin node, and every night they pull the Bitcoin balance from their wallet addresses on Coinbase Prime, validating the Bitcoin held by IBIT. They will show this to institutional clients upon request, but not going to publish to the world because they get plenty of spam already, e.g. sanctioned Bitcoin, NFTs, and this would only cause an explosion in said spam. Just know that it's not amateur hour. BlackRock is like 500 ETFs, which store the holdings with custodians. It's been doing this for decades without a hitch. This is why them and other ETF issuers are trusted by American advisors so much. They know their clients won't get SBF. We are going to dive into SBF and what's going on with Caroline Ellison at the moment. Do want to put a little bit of a reminder though, if it's in the ETF or it's on the exchange, it's not your Bitcoin, as always. Now, BNY Mellon, they are going to tempt people and they want to be able to custody Bitcoin. They have been approved because BlackRock wanted a custodian they could trust. Larry made a call. Coinbase days are numbered. That'd be a good thing. They have been undone by their long-term bet on Ethereum. Whether that's true or hyperbole, thanks very much, BitPain. But Bitcoin more linked with the US Fed. Traders say as China lands their stimulus, China has just warmed up the money printer. I like lightning goats in the chat. I always just trusted SBF. So many people called him out. The guy, that altruistic philanthropy never really goes down well. And shout out to everyone in the chat. Hopefully Mark has gone pushing shitcoins in the chat. We don't need that this morning. Bitcoin, the upside to it is so much higher than taking the risk with altcoins, in my opinion. But let's dive into what's going on with China with the US Fed. Bitcoin's more linked with the US than China. I'm not so sure about that. It may have a little bit of a lagging effect, but Bitcoin is loving whatever's going on in the world today. So let's dive into what is going on. People's Bank of China said it was cutting the reserve requirement ratio for mainland banks by 50 basis points, while also lowering the 7-day reverse repo rate, the interest rate at which a central bank borrows funds from commercial banks, by 20 basis points to 1.5%. In addition, the central bank cut the minimum down payment requirement for mortgages to 15%. I wonder over time if this just goes lower and lower and lower. Obviously, the lower the minimum down payment is, more people can get in, house price will go up high, which will mean less people will be able to buy a house, and they'll drop this down to 10%, 5%, 0%, maybe in some cases. So what happened with the China thing? Just when they did that, Bitcoin's price, it did fall a little bit, like straight away. But right now, it has come back and it is pumping well over 64K. We made 64K. Well done. If we can hold here, 69K is in place straight away. We haven't really managed to be able to hold close above 64,000, though convincingly, not yet. But when it happens, it's a good thing. This is totally unrelated to China, but just really quickly, we will come back to the China thing. Harris win, it's unlikely to be bearish. Let's be fair to both sides of the political aisle. Harris win this election may not be as bearish as the market thinks. And in another bid to win over the crypto vote, Kamala Harris vowed at a fundraiser over the weekend to help the crypto sector grow. Not sure if Bitcoin needs any help and the crypto sector can do what it pleases, but this is on top of Anthony Scaramucci and other crypto advocates working alongside her campaign's crypto policies. Harris said over the weekend that the party, if elected, they will encourage innovative technology like AI and digital assets, while protecting consumers and investors. Sorry, that was a bad take there. The RBA here in Australia has left interest rates on hold. Just hold on to the China thing. We are going to come back to it, but let's dive into the price first. Let's hit refresh. This is why Bitcoin's pumping. This is where I started this morning, 64,109. We are at 64,400, $300 move in like the last 35 minutes. It's absolutely nothing. Those $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 days, maybe they're dampened to the downside now with the options and we get them more to the upside, but I'd expect them both ways. Up, down, or sideways, it's always a good day. And I think the volatility Q4, it's going to be absolutely wild. So a high 64,500 in the last 24 hours. However, if we have a look at the big Bitcoin price, the nice big green button, we're at 64,610. Are we going to 69K today? Is 69K in play? It could happen. Maybe by the end of the week. What's today? Wednesday? Happy Wednesday. Here in Australia, at least, Bitcoin's having an absolutely amazing time, but a low of $62,742. It's about $2,000 roughly. Move in the last 24 hours, but in the last 7 days, 59,450 was the low, 64,501. Well, really, 64,672 it is, just pumping. Let's go over to TradingView and we'll go into the 1 minute chart if I can navigate this morning. And how is everyone doing? Where are you tuning in from on this grand and glorious day? Bitcoin's ripping. It's absolutely ripping. Check that out. How many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sometimes you get 7, then you get a red one. 8, 9. We'll see what that plays out. I'll bring it back later. We'll continue to watch. It's looking like it wants to get above 65K. We'll see. Now, Carolyn Ellison could face no jail time for the role in the FTX collapse. Ellison's role in the implosion of the crypto empire run by a former boss. This is according to Walter Bloomberg. An ex-boyfriend, SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, the notorious villain, was to lie to investors, help steal billions of dollars from FTX customers, and subsequently repurpose those funds towards bets and debt secured at Alameda Research, the digital asset hedge fund she helmed as CEO. We're going to dive into a bit more of an article at the end in regards to Carolyn Ellison, because she has ended up facing jail time, 2 years and then some. President Bukele and Elon Musk met yesterday, two of the greatest minds of our time. I put out a post on X asking if people believe that these two talked about Bitcoin. 100% I believe they did. There's no way Bukele wouldn't have just brought it up at least once. I'm 100% convinced that happened, but I'd like to know what you think. Did Elon Musk and Bukele talk about hard money, freedom, technology? They're both freedom advocates, or supposedly. It seems like it. Elon Musk has got Digital Town Square, really the only large-scale free speech social media platform we have left. And then we've got Bukele on the Bitcoin Standard adding 1 Bitcoin to their balance sheet every single day. There's no way it couldn't have come up. So I wonder what comes out. My prediction is this cycle, Elon Musk is going to come out more in favor of Bitcoin. This is an old video. Let's bring it back at the end, but it's good. Jan Van Eck we'll bring it up. It's good little video. He thinks it's just going to absolutely rip as well. But there's another reason Bitcoin's going to rip. Like all of these catalysts that I'm bringing up today, Bitcoin's going to absolutely fly. We're heading into Q4. We've got rate cuts just happened. We can expect maybe another 50 basis point rate cut at the next meeting. China's unleashed their stimulus. Money printer is firing up in both China and the US. Australia, they haven't cut interest rate yet, but they will. Money printing all around the world. I think the liquidity that's going to be injected and the election cycle on top, it's setting up to be, I think, a hell of a ride. We've got October, November, then we've got December with the Santa Claus rally. Are you excited? Hopefully you've been going pretty hard, because I think that time to be able to get to 1 Bitcoin or whatever your goal is and then your stretch goal, I think it's rapidly going away. And really the price until you get to your goal, it doesn't matter. If you're new to Bitcoin, welcome. You've come at a very interesting time. We've had 6 months of like total sideways moves where it's been absolutely amazing to buy, stack and chill. But I think where we're going now into Q4, where Bitcoin just starts to ramjet accelerate up, it's exciting. You'll feel like a genius, but we will get to a point where we have those big down days, those big volatility days. That's the day where you really need conviction, where you need to have put in the work, done your own research, read the books to be able to hold on, because we may get a drop and then some people panic sell and then it rips another $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. That's what I expect this cycle over and over again. Now I'm looking forward to it. How about you guys? So the Coinbase letter, this is absolutely staggering, absolutely crazy. We brought this chart up before, but a little bit more context. So show the chart. What's this mean? That means this bloody scary. Money printer is about to fire up. Banks are about to go bust. Unrealized losses on investment securities for US banks reached $512.9 billion in Q4 24. This is 7 times higher than that at the peak of the 2008 financial crisis. Pretty interesting in Australia with the misinformation, disinformation bill. The banks have put in a clause, or pushed the government to put in a clause there that you can't warn about an upcoming financial crisis. You can't warn that the banks don't have liquidity because there could be a bank run. It's interesting when you see charts like this. You wonder why they put those clauses in there. Q4 2024 also marked the 11th consecutive quarter of unrealized losses as interest rates continue to pressure the economy. Bank of America, the second largest lender in the US, now accounts for $110.8 billion of held-to-maturity securities with unrealized losses of 20% of the total. Meanwhile, the number of banks on the FDIC problem bank list increased to 66. A little bit scary. In Q1 2024, or 1.5% of the aggregate unrealized losses held by banks remains a major issue. No kidding. Isn't that scary? That's absolutely hectic. 2008, 2009, I think that's why they're going to ramp up the money printer. And Michael Saylor is just talking about Bitcoin adoption here. Congress believes banks should be able to custody Bitcoin, and dive into a little bit. Chairman McHenry and Senator Cynthia Lummis led Republicans in a bicameral letter to the SEC Chair Gary Gensler demanding the agency rescind its disastrous SARB 121 guidance amid bipartisan bicameral opposition. I will repost that at Sean Clark 911. Retro Beaver in the house. The petrodollar is dead. The impact will be astronomical. And Bitcoin price 64,629. Yes, we are going to wake up. This is all going to feel like a dream. When Bitcoin's at 100K, and that I believe, and this is not financial advice, believe that's going to happen a lot quicker than we expect, maybe longer than what we hope. But we'll look back at 64K and be like, oh man, did I go hard enough? Probably not. Well, think back to the good old days of $58,000. It seemed like we were there forever. You're like, wasn't that amazing? 58K felt like buying Bitcoin at 9K or even $19,000. But the price really is irrelevant until we get to our goal. There's 21 million. If you can get to 1/21th million of it, I think you're in good stead, or do the very best that you possibly can. Because when it rips, it's becoming quickly unaffordable, very quickly for a lot of people. And I think it's the last chance to be a sovereign individual. With the misinformation bill, with the banking crisis going on, especially leaving the money in the bank. This is a good message here, a little bit of a health check. When is the last time you did a test transaction, consolidated your UTXOs, load more sats to your Lightning wallet, recovered your seed into a new device? If it's been a while, use this tweet as a reminder to keep your skills sharp. Could not recommend doing that enough. If you need help, channel partners, the Bitcoin Way can help you master your Bitcoin self-custody. Let's just go back to that list really quickly. If you need help doing a test transaction, consolidating your UTXOs, loading sats onto your wallet, recovering your seed into a new device, setting up multi-sig inheritance planning, reach out to the guys. The first 30 minutes is free. They never touch your keys. They never touch your coins. And they won't do it for you. They'll do it with you. They'll teach you how to do these things. So if shit potentially does hit the fan and the banks do go down, you got Bitcoin self-custody, you're still a sovereign individual, and you can just get up, you can opt out, you can move. Then you can dive down the rabbit hole even further, de-Google your phone, get a second passport, plan B, citizenship. But reach out to the Bitcoin Way. There's a link top of the description on the bitcoinway.com. Tony and the team are epic, and it's good to see a lot of people taking action on that. Sam Callahan diving back into China. Their central bank, they unveil most aggressive stimulus since the pandemic. Who doesn't think it's going to rip? Start pricing your future in sats. Hank Miller, absolutely agree. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. So the People's Bank of China said it will cut the 7-day repo rate by 2.2%, while the interest rate on the medium-term lending facility will drop by about 30 basis points and loan prime rates by 20 to 25 basis points. We already talked about Harris. Again, we will encourage innovative technologies like AI and digital assets while protecting our consumers and investors. I still believe Trump's going to leave everyone alone a whole lot more. We're going to come back to Bhutan as well. We've got a few more things. We already covered Bhutan, but there's a good video in regards to it. But people, they just can't get enough of Bitcoin. They'll do anything to be able to get Bitcoin. Someone found a underground crypto mining farm in Russia's Dagestan. Authorities in Dagestan have uncovered illegal underground cryptocurrency mining operations in several areas. So I love the entrepreneurial spirit. And I'm not even going to pronounce that. Over 15 mining machines were found hidden underground as owners attempted to bypass legal restrictions on crypto mining. It's like down this big hole. It's pretty fascinating.
Сейчас будем смотреть. Вот они.
They drop the camera
Так,
down.
один вентилятор есть.
See the miners.
Вон там аппараты.
And you hear the miners. I love it.
Вот
Well
они
done to
аппараты.
them. And that's the joy of Bitcoin. Greed incentivizes people to be able to get as much Bitcoin whatever way possible, and it protects the network. Just in regards to energy, this is huge, and I think this is really good for Australia the world over. The world's biggest banks pledge support for nuclear. Nuclear is probably the cheapest form of energy, apart from hydroelectric or geothermal energy. The wind and the solar, it's not really working out so well. Nuclear being very energy dense is great for Bitcoin mining. The more nuclear reactors we have, and the Bitcoin miners can go there and suck up any excess energy, get cheap sats. I think it's a win-win. especially with this AI future that we're going into as well. We need more and more energy. But banks and funds totaling 14 trillion in assets have just signed an unprecedented statement in support of the nuclear power. They're presenting the pledge to support the goal of tripling nuclear this morning at the Rockefeller Center in New York City to kick off New York Climate Week. A few of the names. So you got Bank of America, Barclays, BNP, Brookfield, Citi, Credit, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Rothschilds, and Co. Pretty interesting that the World Economic Forum really pushed this green agenda, solar panels, wind farms and stuff. A lot of that came from Bill Gates as well, the Rockefellers. Now we're finding that this energy is not really sustainable, rolling blackouts happening in many places around the world. Australia's got some of the highest energy costs because of this Green Deal. It's just going to keep accelerating. It's now interesting that the same people that push that agenda onto the world are now pushing nuclear, which is definitely better. But with Bill Gates behind it, it's pretty interesting how all the dots are connected. Was the point of it, and this total conspiracy theory hat, I'm just going to go out on a whim here, and then we'll get back to the signal, I promise. But did they push this green agenda out there knowing it wouldn't really work? They sold it all. It came from companies that they were invested in. They own a lot of the land. So that happened. They knew it wouldn't work, and then they can come out and then they can start selling countries nuclear reactors as well. So they're paying for twice the amount of things to be able to fix their problem reaction solution. It's possible. Very interesting. The last block, 1 hour and 17 minutes ago. It is 9:11 a.m. Block height 862,725, 64,513. We are under 1,600 Satoshis. We're at 1,550. This number is just going to keep dropping. We've got this opportunity. For every $1, we can get 1,550 Satoshis. It won't last very long. We think it will. We hope it will. And then it just ripped, unfortunately. Or fortunately, 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. But that is good. It is actually a great day to do some UTXO management, even though Bitcoin is pumping. Fee rate anytime 3 sats per VByte. Hash rate, it's up in the last 24 hours. We did get a new block right now. Block height 862,729. The mempool has come down a little bit, but 154,000 unconfirmed transactions. Average block time is run a little bit slow. I think this will rectify over the next 24 hours with the hash rate increasing by about 2.56%. So the Kingdom of Bhutan, let's dive into it. It's a pretty cool video. It's 2 minutes 50. We did talk about Bhutan. Mainstream media has taken a little while to be able to catch up. Maybe another good reason, if you haven't already, hit subscribe. We will get the news out with the fast facts quicker than the mainstream media. When they do a good article, we will bring that to you as well. So this is their video, 2 minutes 50.
And now moving to Asia, Bhutan, the Himalayan kingdom known for prioritizing happiness over wealth, has quietly emerged as a major player in the cryptocurrency world. With $780 million worth of Bitcoin, which is nearly a third of its GDP, Bhutan has become the 4th largest government holder of Bitcoin. Now, what's fueling the country's ambitions to become a leader in green crypto mining? Here's our report with answers.
Nestled in the Himalayas, Bhutan, a tiny Buddhist kingdom with fewer than 900,000 people, has emerged as an unexpected yet powerful player in the world of cryptocurrency. Known for its serene landscapes, happiness-centric philosophy, and commitment to sustainability, Bhutan has quietly amassed a significant treasure. Over 13,000 Bitcoin, worth approximately $780 million. For a country with a GDP of just under $3 billion, this is a staggering sum, making Bhutan the 4th largest government holder of Bitcoin globally.
That's pretty insane considering they only have like a population of 700,000 people and they now hold 13,000 Bitcoin. It's absolutely hectic. I think they could turn into one of the richest countries in the entire world. It's amazing. The power of Bitcoin, this magic internet money, it changes lives, it changes countries.
The Himalayan kingdom is only behind the United States, China, and the United Kingdom as it overtook El Salvador, Ukraine, and Germany. Unlike the United States and China, which gained their cryptocurrency through seizures and legal battles, Bhutan took a more proactive approach by investing directly in Bitcoin mining. And the nation's journey into the digital asset world has been led by its state-owned investment arm, Druk Holdings. Now, even though Bitcoin, the world's first decentralized digital currency, was created in 2009, it has since evolved from a fringe internet experiment into a globally recognized financial asset. And what makes Bitcoin unique is its limited supply and its decentralized nature, operating outside the control of any central bank. While on the other hand, mining Bitcoin involves solving complex
Most people will know this, but I think it's pretty good just to play the last 30 seconds because they do explain how mining works very simply, but I think it's good enough for most people to be able to hear this part.
Complex mathematical problems to validate transactions on the blockchain. A process that consumes significant energy but offers lucrative rewards in Bitcoin currency. Bhutan's decision to mine Bitcoin rather than purchase it directly aligns with its broader strategy to diversify revenue streams. The country's Bitcoin mining activities have been fueled by its abundant hydropower resources, making Bhutan one of the most eco-friendly crypto miners in the world.
That's absolutely amazing. That's absolutely incredible. Well done, Bhutan. Just a bit of a PSA. The Justice Department to sue Visa for monopolizing US debit card market. I just thought this was a little bit of fun. The US Justice Department is preparing to file an antitrust lawsuit against Visa Incorporated, no kidding, accusing the company of illegally monopolizing the US debit card market, according to sources familiar with the case. Is this a surprise to anyone? The lawsuit, expected to be filed in federal court as early as Tuesday, will allege a range of anti-competitive practices by Visa, which operates the largest payment networks in the country. Maybe better just to get into the largest payment network in the world, which is Bitcoin, but no surprises there. Now, Carolyn Ellison, she has been sentenced to 2 years in prison for a role in the FTX fraud. Ellison will also have to forfeit about $11 billion. Ouch, it's got to freaking hurt, hey? A federal judge ruled Tuesday. Sorry, Carolyn Ellison, you ripped off and defrauded so many people. It's so sad. And I guess the message, really, the takeaway always is just get your Bitcoin off the exchange today. Watch BTC sessions if you're willing to put in the time, or talk to Tony and the team, or just figure it out, please. Because there are evil people out there like that will misappropriate your funds, that will rehypothecate your funds, and they won't be there when you need them. And we are going to see more and more exchanges go bust this cycle. 100% guaranteed. We already had one like 3 weeks ago in India. Closed their doors. There's another one in Indonesia. What was that, 4 weeks ago? Coming to a country near you, no matter how big they are. Former Alameda Research CEO Carolyn Ellison was sentenced to 24 months or 2 years in prison by a federal judge on Tuesday. Do you reckon that's long enough? It's very sad that anyone is spending a life behind bars. If you do the crime, you may need to do the time. Oh, do you think 2 years, 24 months is justice for all the people that got defrauded here? The judge said Ellison, 29, it's a young age to turn into a supervillain, Carolyn, who will also have to forfeit about $11 billion, could serve the sentence at a minimum security facility near Boston where her family lives. It's going to be a pretty cushy ride for her. She'll also spend 3 years on supervised release after she serves her term. 5 years in total being watched by the state. Is that long enough for everything they did? Ellison's lawyer told the court that his client had been led astray by Bankman-Fried, who she formerly had a romantic relationship with. In a desire to please Bankman-Fried, Ellison participated in the fraud scheme, but after FTX collapsed, her lawyer said she has recovered her moral compass. When the money was flowing, no moral compass. When the money ran out, when FTX and Alameda Research got uncovered, went bust, she's now recovered her moral compass. The timing of it, well done, Carolyn. I'm glad you found it, but I don't quite believe you. The human brain is bad at comprehending big numbers, she said, her voice wavering. I can't even begin to imagine the pain she's caused. We can protect ourselves. We can take 100% self-responsibility. Please don't leave your Bitcoin in the hands of people like that. No matter if you think you trust him or not, it's a dangerous game. That Bitcoin's not yours. Ellison, she's got approximately 45 days before she is required to surrender herself voluntarily to the Bureau of Prisons to begin serving her sentence. If you told me back in 2018 that I'd end up pleading guilty to fraud, I would have told you were crazy, Ellison added. At each stage, the process became harder and harder to extricate myself. I'm sorry I wasn't brave. You will be, unfortunately. They should sterilize these FTX fraudsters too far. Retro Beaver maybe a little bit too far. Maybe. Not that one. Oh, I just want to shout out to Tommy Boy. This is some hectic proof of work. Well done, mate. Yes, it's been a minute since I missed it. I'll do anything for free Bitcoin. 689 days straight stacking Bitcoin. Last night, I was thinking. I bought Bitcoin at $3,300. Sorry, I got a little bit of a blocked nose. And I want to know, did you? I bought Bitcoin at $9,000. Did you? I also bought it at $22,000. Did you? That time where Bitcoin was at $58,000 for that brief moment, no, forever, I also bought it. I'd like to know, did you? When Bitcoin was it reached 74,000, I bought it at 73,530 odd dollars. Did you? We've got this small opportunity. Fiat is literally going down for the rest of our lives. Guaranteed, mathematically, they can't stop it. Let's bring up the US debt clock. It's just out of control. Forever and a day. The US national debt, $35.4 trillion. Debt per citizen, 104. Debt per taxpayer, $269. It's a system to be able to keep people enslaved, to be able to control. Bitcoin seems expensive now if you're just getting in. But in hindsight, this is so cheap. And whether it's at $3,300 or $73,530 odd dollars, I buy the dip. I buy Bitcoin because there's only 21 million. People love rare, shiny, scarce objects. Bitcoin was designed, as engineered to be the best currency, the best store of value, the best medium of exchange that humanity has ever known. It's here. It's 15 years old. It's still early. It works. As well as the number go up technology, it allows you to be sovereign. You can keep 12 or 24 words in your head, jump over a border. You can just opt out. You can take your seed plate on a boat. They sink. You can just opt out. Bitcoin's this amazing technology, this revolution. So it's 64,531. Maybe it is a good time to be able to smash the buy button. Maybe if we dip to 58K, it's a good time. Even if we pump all the way to 74K. I guess if you haven't reached your goals, I believe the time's running out. And I've gone as hard as I can, and I'm still panicking. I have a fear of missing out. Because when this opportunity is over, to be able to get 1,550 Satoshis for every $1, we're going to wake up and it'll be under 1,000. It'll be under 800. It'll be under 600. It'll be under 500. And we may get that this cycle. We may get down to the low hundreds, 1, 2, 3, 400 Satoshis per US dollar. We've got a pretty good deal at the moment. And I do have that FOMO, fear of missing out, because I think we're going to rip so hard. And I guess after a time, you realize there is never enough. And let's sum up the news with this video here, 350K price prediction. But like Exit's saying, I'll buy the top forever, Laura.
Which do you like better?
Andrew C. What a goat. I'm sleeping at my parents' house because I sold my house and bought Bitcoin. Andrew, let's absolutely go. I won't push back on the potato comment, brother. Well done. That's absolutely epic. Making himself a living legend. Absolute living legend.
Which do you like better, Bitcoin or Ethereum?
What do you reckon? Bitcoin or Ethereum? It's always Bitcoin. What a day. Let's go.
What's
I'm
your
a gold
price?
guy.
Okay.
I'm a gold guy.
Give me your price target for the longer term with Bitcoin, because right now at about 63,000, where do you see it going?
Right. So about a year ago, I started pounding the table because eventually the Fed is going to start easing here. That's great for gold and that's for Bitcoin. What I said is Bitcoin is growing up and will be eventually half the total market cap of gold. So that's about 350,000. So quite a ways to go from here. The Super Bowl, if central banks adopted, and you know, it's.
And that may even be bearish. Maybe it's bullish this cycle. Does it really matter? Imagine if we just skip a whole cycle and we're at $64,000 forever. It's actually a blessing in disguise. At the time, it absolutely sucks. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to absolutely tear and go to the moon. And I do have major FOMO at the moment. Anyway, I'll pass it back. Sorry, mate.
Part of the monetary system, then, you know, in the millions, but I don't like to talk about that too much.
What, more than 2 million? More than 3?
Yeah, like 2.9, we've got some model, which is, you have to look at the assumptions.
Right. Well, yeah, there are always
assumptions. The price will be what the price will be. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. There's only 21 million at the moment. Price in that dirty slave fiat dollars, we're at 64,526. It's pretty exciting. I am pretty excited. We'll stop with the hype button this morning. If you're going to hang around for a Bitcoin banter, welcome and g'day. If you are tuning out, that is the news with the fast facts. Greatly appreciate. If you smash subscriber, we will give you the news with the fast facts 5 days a week. We did have a podcast drop with the Carnivore King, Dr. Sean Baker, yesterday. If you haven't checked that out, check that video out. He dives into how to do the diet properly. Also, why fiber could be beneficial or it could be bad for us. He talks about both sides. And also the WEF with their agenda where they want you to eat the bug protein. It's pretty crazy. The WEF wants people to drink maggot milk and all this random stuff. So that's a good rip. Otherwise, let's dive into a little bit of a banter this morning. It's good to see everyone. If you could smash the like button, be greatly appreciated. Let's, British Huddle is in the house. Good to see you, my man. Earthbum, do something, do anything, hit the like button, people. Emil, good to see you. Mark, most definitely not. Exit in the house. Emil saying, love these times starting at 8:30 at work, able to listen live. Absolutely love people putting in the proof of work while they are at work. They're reinforcing why they're going to get that fiat dollars. Absolutely amazing. That's what I did for so long when I was under employment. Just listen to Bitcoin content, think about Bitcoin all day. Like, why am I waking up? Why am I doing this? Why am I putting in the hard yards? And it's to be able to accomplish the mission of buying, stacking, and chilling. And that's the whole purpose of that. Obviously, you need to be able to pay for life's expenses as well. But just, I did the same thing, brother. And I'm so pleased to be able to hear that, Emil. That's absolutely epic. I'll support your meme coin. No, send me 10 Bitcoin up front. So just so people have got the context, if they don't see the thing, there's this twat from X asking if I'll support a meme coin. Exit's coming and saying they'll support their meme coin. Send me 10 Bitcoin up front. There's going to just be so many rug pulls this cycle within crypto, and it's up to you. It's your money. It's your choice. Have fun there. Good to see you, British Huddle. Habib in the house. Lightning Goat in the house. We love a wild climb. We hate a sudden drop. Humans, all humans, 100%. But, you know, it goes both ways, the price. And the options, are they going to totally decrease the volatility to downside? Probably not. But I think to the upside, it's going to be pretty epic, especially if that gamma squeeze plays out. I miss the days when we didn't need to talk about BlackRock. Yes, I think it's pretty interesting. Like, my belief is BlackRock's great for retirement funds, you know, for financial Wall Street to be able to come in to lead into the number go up side of things. But they take away so much. They don't give you the freedom, technology, the sovereignty to be able to actually custody your own digital property in cyberspace for the first time in human history. They don't allow that. And that's a shame, nor do they push it. They do it themselves, which is good. They run their own node, which is good. They verify online their Bitcoin transactions. So they don't trust, they verify. But then the clients are trusting them. Maybe take a page out of their book and do what BlackRock does instead of what they say. Well, like buy our ETF. What they're doing is they're buying the Bitcoin, verifying it through their own node, and holding it in self-custody now by the looks of it. Or starting to move towards that. Oh, they're not holding self-custody yet, but it looks like they're moving towards that. And it'll be interesting with the banks when they come in. I don't trust altruistic folks. I always just trusted SBF. Stay the path and you won't get FOST 100%. Don't go out and leverage it. Or if you do, that's on you. It's your money. It's your choice. Again, 90% of people are going to lose 90% of their money in 90 days or less. We have freedom money. Now we just need freedom of speech, which is Nostra. 100% agree. Camilla equals CBDCs, 100% agree with that. Australia, obviously, the RBA put out a report of where they are with CBDCs as well. And they're always just going to keep try and try and try and try. If they don't get it through this election cycle, Trump gets in, they can't get their CBDCs, so just try again at the next one. It's Tuesday, you're in the future. Welcome, Jacob. It's a grand and glorious day. It's nice and bright, nice and sunny. Slowly then, absolutely send it, Hank Miller. Tuesday here in Western Canada, 70K, my no-coiner friends will start asking me questions again. It happens over and over again, and it's so disappointing. It sucks, doesn't it? You're like, Bitcoin's at 48,000, maybe it's a good time to buy. Bitcoin's at 58,000, maybe it's a good time to buy. Bitcoin's at 64,406, maybe it's just a good time to buy. And then maybe they do buy a little bit, and then it drops from 64 to 58K, and they don't buy anymore. But then they wait till it's like 70, 74K, 100K, and then you get those phone calls being like, hey, Bitcoin's pumping, should I buy? You're like, oh my God, yes, you should always just buy Bitcoin, in my opinion. But fuck, couldn't you have bought it like 48K or 58K or bloody 64K? It's so infuriating. And also because when they're like asking and they're like calling and they haven't done the proof of work, the research, like everyone watching today, they panic sell and they don't hold on through the dips, or they don't stack harder on those dips and bring their average cost basis down. It's absolutely infuriating, and it requires a lot of patience, and it absolutely sucks. It's nice when people put in the proof of work, so I greatly appreciate everyone showing up and doing that, because it's important, and sharing the Bitcoin message. And I guess on that note, super shill, if you can smash the like button or hit subscribe, it will push this Bitcoin channel, or push all the Bitcoin channels and get the Bitcoin message out there. It'd be greatly appreciated, because Bitcoin's cheap as chips. At the moment, it won't always be. I don't even know if we're always going to be able to buy it. But exit, 100% agree. Much love from Alberta. Haven't been to Alberta yet, but I definitely want to get over. Maryland, Appalachia, Earthbum. I absolutely love Appalachia. It's what a place. What just a magical place in the world. Western Maryland. It's grand and glorious. What was the... I'll mix up my geography, but maybe it was Dougspur, if that's in Appalachia. Was staying there. Maybe I'm getting the place wrong. We've gone to so many places in the States. Staying in this, like on the edge of a national park. So there's like a river. On the other side was like national park, I guess. And then we had like all forests and stuff. We went there to see the last remaining like fall, autumn, the leaves dropping. And on our last day in this cozy little stone-built log tobacco barn cabin, which was absolutely amazing. We woke up one morning and like the frost man had came, and the river had frosted over, and it just absolutely amazing. It was snowing a little bit. As the place has got a special place in my heart. All of the US does. It's such a beautiful country. You're so blessed, and it's just so diverse. The biodiversity over in the States is absolutely Incredible. G'day from the USA, Jacob Shelton in the house. And they exit saying, and they will say, I'll buy when it goes back to 40. When at 40K, they will not buy 100%. There's still people waiting for 12K. It's not happening. 48K, it's unlikely. 58K, it's possible. But the probability of us going back to 58K is dropping dramatically. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but hoping that it will and not stacking because you just hope that it'll go to this price that you pick doesn't work out for most people. But then again, some people get lucky, time the markets, and someone will sell the exact top, someone will buy the exact bottom, but the majority of people now. But Kelly, he's a good man. He's a GOAT. Elon Cave to Brazil. Yeah, it's very interesting. Obviously, Elon Musk needs to abide by the laws in the country, and that's why Nostra is so important. VPNs as well. X won't save us unless it becomes fully decentralized, and that's Nostra. Too many catalysts for it not to. This is Hank Miller talking about Bitcoin price absolutely going to pump. It is. There's just everything lining up. And Australia, even though they put the interest rates on hold, they will drop it. People going to property first, and the US will print money and Australia will print money to be able to stay on par, devalue our currency. And they just can't stop printing money here anyway. China's printing money. Well, they're going to start printing money, US. The catalyst, Q4, 3 solid months, especially if September finishes green. I think we're in for a pretty epic time. And the elections, obviously whatever happens in November. Short term could be super bearish, and maybe that's when we get a $10,000 down day or a $20,000 down day, depending on what price we are. But it could also be the day where we get a $30,000 upside candle. I think we're in for a hell of a time. And I wonder if the options come out before the election. G'day, Legend McLovin in the house. I'm positioned and ready to retire into the sunset. Jacob Shelton's gone hard. Well done. Living legend, the new financial elite. How do you keep the PEDs out in decentralized X? I do not know, and I think maybe that's a different conversation. Safety should never supersede freedom. We drive cars even though tens of thousands die every year. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. Start pricing your future in sats. Russell Patey. I'm not sure what it's in regards to, but he's so excited. He's got me fired up, and yes, I had to push the hype button this morning. Again, do it to it, baby. Russell Patey's just got rocket ship after rocket ship after rocket ship. I need to sort out how to bring the comments up on OBS. Don't sell your freedom money into jailbait fiat. 100% agree. Notes and other stuff. Transmitted. Riser, I see that you are watching from Serena, celebrating the first anniversary of our Bitcoin journey. Yes, we're relaxing newbies and yet still feel early to the party. We are so early to the party, and well done. Hopefully, like people that buy today at 64,367, or even if they're buying at the old all-time high is 74,000. In time, it's all relatively cheap. It's just time to be able to go, but obviously 64 is better than 100K. Always. Notes and other stuff transmitted by Relay. Cowards, jealous, manipulative cowards do all they can to destroy truth, love, family, and you guessed it, Bitcoin. Orange Man has been orange pilled, sort of. Trump. He's a bit of a shitcoiner, but I think he's going to leave us alone the most, so probably the better person to be able to get in. And there is less wars under Trump. I'm so opposed to wars. Obviously, he is pretty racist, which I don't agree with in the slightest. It just, that nonsense doesn't need to go on. But, you know, it stirs people up. It gets a certain cohort all fired up. But, you know, apart from that, I think overall he's definitely the better candidate. But again, no politician's going to save any of us. It'd be nice if they would. Like, wouldn't it be great? Politicians come in, we elect these people because they're meant to serve us, but they just go in there and they serve themselves. And I think that's what's happening in this country and many countries around the world, unfortunately. But Hank Miller diving back in, nuclear or hydrogen. They're looking for my seed phrase. Hank Miller's gone Bhutan. Good morning, my furry little node holders. I don't know if we need to bring furries into Bitcoin. Bitcoin put it, no, I'm playing. Mark, how do I block? Add to block list. See you later, buddy. Hitting the like too. My people, Andy C is telling me to eat a potato, so I'm like day 8 or 9 now of the carnivore journey. I will post those videos on another channel. Don't trust Verify. I just had a major week. I've uploaded them, but I need to make thumbnails for them. So when I do that, if you want to follow the carnivore journey, I'll do it on that channel. I understand that there's so many diets, and I don't even believe for myself that I'll stay strictly carnivore forever. I may or I may not, but at least for the next 30 days, I am going down that journey. Like beef is a true superfood. I think it's what fixed my back when I really hurt it, like really, really bad last year. I had steak, eggs, and jerky, and that's where rarejerk.com.au sprang from, is because it's just so nourishing to me. But I've never gone like a period of time with just steak and eggs. Meat-based products. So we'll see how it plays out. The first week, it's had its highs, it's had its lows, but maybe at the end, Andrew C. I may have some potato, maybe some kumara, sweet potato there, whole lot of butter. I don't know, or maybe I don't. But just an FYI, Retro Beaver grass-fed beef only. It is the best. Beach coin, pretty lame stint too. What a homely looking woman. Homely looking woman. This is Bitcoin Buddha in regards to Carolyn Ellison, I dare say. I don't know where that post is gone. I could bring it back up for you if you like. There we go. The person that, one of the people that defrauded the world, that really put a tarnish on Bitcoin's name. It's sad. Shame on you, Carolyn. Shame on you, Sam Bankman-Fried. Really hurt a lot of people. They should sterilize them. Looks like a real life Simpsons character. I bought it 10K and my last is 70K. Exit gets it. That's all we need to do. I bought it all over the map. Hank Miller is winning. I buy every Monday. Retro Beaver. I buy every Monday regardless of the fiat price. What an absolute goat. I got in around 70K. Green Knight, you're a true champion. Have you been stacking at these lower prices as well, I guess would be my question. I hope so, to bring that average cost down. And if you're new, go out and please do your own research. The most successful strategy for the most amount of people within Bitcoin, the majority of people to win within Bitcoin, this is about winning with Bitcoin, about getting more, is just DCA. Like Retro Beaver, just buying every Monday, regardless of the price. Maybe it's set amount, $50,000, $100,000, $10,000 every week, every day, and consistently go in. You can do it for a 4-year time period before you're willing to relax. I think you really set yourself up for a life of freedom. At least that was my personal experience there. And for anyone that's been in for 3, 4, 5, 7+ years, it's also been their experience. Just get through one whole cycle. Because even if you're buying the top, judging by history, and it doesn't always rhyme, but often doesn't always repeat, often it rhymes. If you buy at the top, 4 years later, it's doubled minimum. The next lowest was 200%. So it's just about having the time perspective and then putting in the work and then realizing, oh, fiat, all I want is Bitcoin. Not here to sell Bitcoin, just to be able to accumulate it. Oh, Carolyn. Oh, Carolyn. The Golem Carolyn gets a slap on the wrist for billions in fraud while Ross still rots in jail for developing a payment platform. It's pretty bizarre, hey? Money talks. And there's agenda going on. Was all of this to put a bad name on Bitcoin and the crypto industry? Was it all a propaganda, a psyop? I don't know. But it was pretty bad. And it did hurt Bitcoin's reputation for a little while there. I think we've done pretty good at separating Bitcoin and crypto, but then Trump has come in and he's sort of mashing the two back together, which is not good because fundamentally they are very, very different. And it's such a shame Ross is still in jail. And maybe that's just the single issue to vote Trump in, is to release Ross Ulbricht. Don't leave yourself on the beach. I like leaving myself on the beach. No, Hank Miller is saying don't leave yourself on the bench. Completely agree. I'll buy the top forever. Andrew C., that's an absolute goat move. Thank God your crazy move will succeed. Absolutely amazing. Can rip when you least expect, especially these days. Yeah, Bitcoin's like coiling up. Let's go back to that price chart really quickly. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it because it helps me get my message out. And I will also give you the news with the fast facts. We get through that in about 20, 25 minutes. And then we go in for a little bit of a banter. We go off into some separate tangents. And you can stay or leave. But if you hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, at least you'll be informed when I do go live and drop those podcasts. But this is on the 1 minute chart. We went up. I need to check out all that. And then it's come all the way back down and it wants to go all the way back up again. What's this price? 64,200. It is looking pretty strong above 64,000. If we can hold above 64K, where do we go under? Where do we start? So about here. 11 o'clock last night. That's about the close, wasn't it? Or the open. And it's just ripped since then. It's, I don't know, maybe 69K is in play by the end of the week. If it can hold above 64K, it's literally moments away. It's going to come too soon for a lot of us. When's this since? 24th of September, since yesterday. It's just ripping. That's what Bitcoin does. It's good, it's bad. It sort of sucks because you get less Satoshis, but it's also validating all the work that you've put in over whatever time period. Potatoes for all at 100K, Andrew C. Greatly appreciated. Stay free and stack sats, folks. 100%. Remember, Bitcoin makes most of its gains in only a handful of weeks every bull run. Yeah, it's 11 days a year. It makes most of its gains on average, 10 to 11 days. It's 365 days in a year. It's pretty hard to frickin' time those. And today could be one of those days, 64,339. It wants to move. Hank Miller, appreciate you hanging around. You don't make money when you buy Bitcoin. You're buying a piece of digital property. Unbelievable. 100%. That's what normal folk don't get. Hello from Hawaii North. Everyone's in some very beautiful locations. Breedlove moved just a couple of blocks from my house. Not going to dox him. I saw him walk yesterday. Exit. If you do run into him, can you say, Sean from G'day Bitcoin would love to sit down and have a chat and dive into the philosophy of Bitcoin, the nature of Bitcoin. What is money? The guy, I really respect him. He gets a lot of pushback, a lot of shit. But I think he's pushing pretty good signal, pretty good message, and he's very focused on his health. And, he's been very open with the mental health issues that he's experienced and what he's done to overcome them. Someone that I definitely love to have on Exit if you ever run into him. How cool, man. What a cool neighbor. What an absolute cool neighbor. Still stacking. From Toronto, Canada, Tantrum Shack. So good to see you. It's been a minute, hey? Welcome back. If I get it right, how are the kids? Canada, out of the Great Lakes. After in crypto sovereignty, I've recognized Bitcoin as the defensive weapon it was meant to be. Yeah, if you've been in Bitcoin for a while and you haven't read the book Crypto Sovereignty, I highly, 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 highly recommend it. It's absolutely insane. It's a little bit intense. Eric Kaysen is a very deep thinker. I've done a podcast with him. It's not for people new in the space, but if you've read, 2 or 3, I used to say 4 or 5 Bitcoin books, you're ready for it. But I think because Bitcoin's about to pop, maybe it is worth just picking that book up if you've read at least 1 or 2 other Bitcoin books first, like Beers for Bitcoin, The Bitcoin Standard, Bitcoin Evangelism, Pay Attention to Bitcoin. If you read some of those books, that crypto sovereignty, I think it's a game changer. It's an absolutely must read if you haven't read it. Eric Kaysen, be warned, it's so intense, like it's insane, absolutely insane. It's the ultimate diet. Grampy must be talking about carnivore, I believe, and I absolutely agree. Sean Baker versus Garth Brooks and YouTube debate is really good. Awesome. I'll check that out. I think keto is better than the carnivore diet. I love ribeye steaks, but I'm not going to turn down some sockeye or coho salmon. Yeah, why would you? Agree. Thank you, Andrew. We'll watch. Loved Maulers versus Schiff. Maulers riding point, very accurate and smart. Guy is ripped. You're talking about Dr. Sean Baker. He's pushing on 60. And yeah, he's ripped as. He's like had steak and eggs for like the last 8 years, I think. But we'll close it out. This is a cool number. Bitcoin 64,333.99. As always, it's a grand and glorious day. Please do something nice for yourself. Maybe that's buy, stack, and chill. Hopefully you've gotten to 1 Bitcoin or whatever that stretch goal is for you. I think Bitcoin's just going to rip. It's going to go to the moon. It's going to melt faces. And does that happen today? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It was cheaper 24 hours ago than it is now. And maybe we just pump all the way to 69K. Maybe we come down and sit between 62 and 64 for another couple of weeks. But when Bitcoin does break out and it starts moving, I think all of us, no matter how hard we went, my belief is we are going to have that fear of missing out. I have that fear of missing out now. So maybe the nice thing is to be able to buy some sats and then do something nice for somebody else. The world is a beautiful place, but it can also be a harsh place for so many people out there. It does pay to be kind. But we'll see you tomorrow. Have a very beautiful day. Be blessed. Peace. And thank you for putting in the proof of work. Bitcoin is the people that are going to change the world. It is more important now than ever before. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.
Everything seemed normal. Successful businesses were functioning as they usually should. Money was being placed in the bank as savings. Life was good. Nobody notices anything funny. But 2008 hits and all hell breaks loose. Everything we thought about money and the banking was a complete lie, a complete sham, a Ponzi, a scam. The whole world fell apart and a lot of people got hurt financially. And as a result of this, the Bitcoin white paper was born. But yet the same mistakes keep happening over and over again. People are leaving money on their institutions up until the last straw, FTX, when billions of dollars were lost, families were decimated, life savings were completely wiped, and people were wondering what on earth just happened. We have an option to take full custody of our funds, and that's Bitcoin. We just have to learn the process. It's not hard. It's just something we've never had to do before. Otherwise, the same mistakes are going to keep repeating themselves, and people are going to continue to get hurt over and over and over until they learn you need to exit the system in order to protect yourselves and your loved ones.